to $50 a barrel. They said that they were going to maintain giving the oil-producing countries of the world the value of a $50 bill at that time. That means then, as the purchasing power of the dollar deteriorates over the next 12 months, the price of gasoline at the gas pump will go up proportionately. Let me try to explain it this way. In 1974, I was a missionary and purchased a Maule aircraft. I was a missionary in Alaska, and that year I purchased a brand new, right off the assembly line, Maule aircraft, which is an excellent STOL aircraft for use in the bush of Alaska. And that year I purchased that brand new airplane for $13,000 new. Today, if you'll go on the web and look up Maule aircraft, you'll find the exact same airplane, the same engine, the same wheels, the same structure of the aircraft, the same airframe. You pay today $150,000 for that identical same aircraft that in 1974 I purchased for $13,000. Now what has changed? The aircraft's the same. Hasn't changed one bit. The engine's the same, the airframe's the same. What has changed? The dollar has lost 91.3% of its value since 1974 when I bought that identical same airplane. Why? Because the monetary policies of the Federal Reserve and our national debt and the elite have literally stolen 91+% of your retirement, of your pension fund, of your Social Security check, of your banking account, of your savings account. They literally have stolen the purchasing power of your salary by 91%. What you received back then compared to what you have today. Now, next. What do the elite intend to do next? Well, let me explain it this way. You may have heard the word derivatives. The elite invented the greatest monetary theft that has ever taken place in the history of the world, and a number of years ago, they invented what is known as derivatives. Derivatives are very complicated financial instruments, but they were created by the elite for bringing the entire world's banking system to the point that they want it to come to. For instance, Dubai, that world-class city, it's a ghost town. Now, I was told a little over a year ago that Dubai would be at some point a ghost town. Now, let's distinguish between Dubai and Dubai World. Over the Thanksgiving holiday, Dubai World forfeited on $80 billion of debt. They said, we can't pay the bonds, we forfeit. Dubai World, it was quite interesting. This individual said to me just the other day when he was talking about all of this, he said, Dubai World is one of the greatest promoters of derivatives in the world today. And then he went on to tell, he said, Chaplain, the average person in the world today has not the slightest idea how precarious the derivative of Dubai World and their default. He said they have not the slightest idea how close the entire world banking system is to total collapse. He said if the average person knew the danger of Dubai World defaulting and the derivatives that Dubai World have been involved in, he said it literally would frighten them. The financial institutions of the world are involved in derivatives, every one of them. These derivatives, it's estimated that there are approximately, and nobody knows the amount of all the derivatives in the world, because there's no record kept of many of them. They're ones that are traded under the counter. These derivatives may be held by any bank anywhere in the world. Derivatives are so extensive and vast, and so much illegal, or should I say immoral, activity have been involved in the derivative market. And I hope you'll be sure and watch the second DVD where we explained derivatives by giving charts and diagrams and some very reputable people talking about it. It is estimated that there are approximately or well over $100 trillion in financial derivatives floating around the world today in the banking system. Derivatives are one of the results of it is what's happening in our real estate market today. And in order to understand that derivative part of the real estate market, you have to understand that whenever you take out a mortgage with a bank, that bank sells the mortgage or packages them and sells them to the derivatives. And when you watch our second DVD and understand the extensive derivative market, no wonder the world and America today is in the condition they're in, and the American dollar about to collapse because of the derivative market that the elite created for the purpose of bringing this about. Inflation will be so big in the next 12 months that any preparation that you can possibly make right now should be made. 38 million Americans right now, today, are on food stamps. What will happen when those food stamps will buy 1/2, 12 months from now, what they'll buy right now? 38 million Americans already in trouble on food stamps. I was told that within 12 months, your dollar will be worth 30 to 50% less. This 87-year-old man said, "Chaplain, please tell everybody what's going to happen to them." What do the elite have to gain by this? Now, many people have asked me the question. You mean they want to destroy the dollar? They want to bring much of America to the same place that Detroit is right now? What do the elite have to gain by this? Well, let me say emphatically, everything. They have nothing to lose. They have everything to gain. Let me try to explain it this way. Let's say you have a mortgage on your house. You've been paying on that mortgage for the past 10 years. All of a sudden, the economy in America continues to deteriorate, as this person told me it would. 50% devaluation of the dollar in the next 12 months. You can hardly put food on the table and gasoline in the tank to get to the job, much less be able to make your mortgage payment. So you go by 3 months and you can't pay the mortgage. The bank comes in, or the lending institution, and by the way, who controls the banks now? The taxpayers have bailed them out through the Treasury, and the Federal Reserve, which is not an agency of the government of the United States of America, has loaned those banks or given those banks so much money until they totally control them and own them. And the Federal Reserve is nothing but the elite. And since the banks are controlled and owned now by the Federal Reserve, who is it that will get your house whenever the bank comes in and takes it over? Nobody but the elite. You've paid on it for 10 years. Do they give you anything back when they repossess it? Give you nothing. Do you realize that you have paid them for 10 years to take your house now because you can't make the payment because they have deteriorated the economy to the point that they have, and now they will take your house, repossess it. You've lost what you've put in it for 10 years, and they'll turn around and rent it back to you. What advantage was it to the elite to bring about a financial collapse? Everything. What did they gain? Everything. What did they lose? Nothing. The bank repossesses it, and you've lost it. Well, who controls the bank? The Federal Reserve. Who is the Federal Reserve? The elite. Who will get your house free of charge? Pay you nothing for it? The elite. Who now controls Chrysler Corporation? Who controls AIG? Who controls General Motors? Every person that works for those organizations or companies that have been bailed out by the taxpayer through the Treasury and the Federal Reserve, every person that works for them now works for the federal government. You're an employee of them. And nearly every business and everything that is mortgaged, when it's all over with and the elite are in control, everything that is mortgaged, they'll own it. They'll own probably 75 to 80% of the real estate of America. They'll own AIG, General Motors, Chrysler. And you and your children and my children will be slaves of the elite forever, unless we do something now. We will be their slaves. Well, you say, wait a minute, is there any hope whatsoever? Yes. As it was said to me not long ago by a person in Canada, I just lectured there, and this individual came up to me and he said, Chaplain, go back to America. He said, you still have a constitution. He said, we don't have anything that we can return to. But he said, you have a document that if you can make your government return to it, you can be free again. He said, go back there and get the people to tell the government, as Thomas Jefferson did, bind the Constitution, bind the politicians down with the chains of the Constitution. We must require them to obey it. And this is the hope of America, is to return back to where it was founded so that, again, we can be what our founding fathers established this country to be. Well, let me go to the next subject that this individual dealt with me on, and he said, and I know that every person would like to know, I guess everyone is concerned about the subject of war. What is going to be? What do we have to look forward to as far as war is concerned and the elite? So many people requested me to ask him that question, and I did. And so 2 years ago, I had been told by them that they positively did not want war with Iran for at least, well, it was about a year ago, did not want war with Iran for at least a 2-year period. Nearly everyone at the time thought that we were going to have war with Iran. Our warships were over there, the Navy, the Air Force, our Marines were ready, and sitting there in the Persian Gulf, and everybody was saying, I was even intimating myself, that we might have war with Iran. And when that individual told me that, I came back over radio talk shows all across America, and I said, the elite do not want war with Iran. You have nothing to be concerned about for the next 2 years. Well, it's happened exactly like he told me, because they have it all planned. They know in advance what they're going to do. Now, I'm telling you again exactly what this individual said to me. He said, we do not want war with Iran in the immediate. Now, they do have war planned, but it will not be within the next year to a year and a half. And then he said to me, he said, there's only one way that there will be war with Iran, and he said that is if Israel starts it. So for the next 12 months, you can breathe a sigh of relief, so to speak. War is planned, but war is not planned in the next year's time. Now, I think we can easily know from the Bible that there will be war in the future. If you'd like to know where this is found, go and look, and you'll find in Ezekiel chapter 38 and chapter 39 in the Scriptures. And of course, you can always depend on the Bible, whether you depend on the elite or not. The elite are not God. They think they are sometimes, but they aren't. But they have war planned. But if you'd like to find out what will be the ultimate in this, look in Ezekiel in the Scriptures, in the Old Testament, chapter 38 and verse 39, and you'll find basically what the elite do have planned at some point in the future. War is the ultimate control. If they want to place a control factor that would basically manipulate nations in a very unusual manner, this will be the method that they would use. And according to what I am told, war